welcome to the Shoreline Benefice for the third edition of Let Me Tell You a Story. Today we're going to listen to John and Dilly, who are going to read their Bible story and then share with you what they like so much about that story, of what about that story spoke to them. We're always looking for more people who would like to share their story with everybody else. So if you would like to be involved, you're very welcome to be in touch.
Hello, I'm John Edwards from Chomadiston, and I'm reading from Matthew 25, chapter 25. When the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, then he will sit on the throne of his glory. And all the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate people one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will put the sheep at his right hand and the goats at his left. Then the king will say to those at his right hand, "Come, you are blessed by my Father. Inherit the kingdom, prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me." And the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when was it that we saw you a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when was it that you saw sick, or when we saw you sick or in prison and visited you?" And the king will answer them, "Truly I tell you, just as you did it for one of the least of these who are members of my family, you did it to me." Apparently that was one of the favourite readings of Mother Teresa, which says something. Now, about 20 years ago, we were fortunate enough to spend a couple of weeks in Antigua in the West Indies. Whilst there, we made friends with a retired doctor and his wife, who we found out rather like golf. So we decided to play a game together, which was lovely. On the way back from the golf in a taxi, we came through the main town of Antigua, and it was obvious there was going to be a large funeral just taking place. And there were lots of big cars and lots of people, lots of men in dark suits. And the gentleman next to me said, "That looks as if that must be a funeral of somebody important." To which the taxi driver replied, "Man." And this was in his lovely West Indian brogue, soft West Indian brogue. "Man," he said, "everyone's important." And he was so right.
isn't my favourite reading, but it's one that I remember from my Sunday school days, which, as you can imagine, was a long time ago. And it's when the Lord calls Samuel. So the boy Samuel ministered before the Lord under Eli. In those days, the word of the Lord was rare. There were not many visions. One night, Eli, whose eyes were becoming so weak that he could hardly see, was lying down in his usual place. The lamp of God had not yet gone out, and Samuel was lying down in the house of the Lord, where the ark of God was. Then the Lord called Samuel. Samuel answered, "Here I am." And he ran to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me." But Eli said, "I did not call. Go back and lie down." So he went and he lay down. Again the Lord called Samuel. And Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me." "My son," Eli said, "I did not call. Go back and lie down." Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord. The word of the Lord had not yet been revealed to him. A third time the Lord called, "Samuel." And Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me." Then Eli realized that the Lord was calling the boy. So Eli told Samuel, "Go and lie down, and if he calls you, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went and lay down in his place. The Lord came and stood there, calling as at the other times, "Samuel, Samuel." Then Samuel said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." The Lord said to Samuel, "See, I am about to do something in Israel that will make the ears of everyone who hears about it tingle. At that time, I will carry out against Eli everything I spoke against his family from beginning to end. For I told him that I would judge his family forever because of the sin he knew about. His sons blasphemed God, and he failed to restrain them. Therefore I swore to the house of Eli, the guilt of Eli's house will never be atoned for by sacrifice or offering." Samuel lay down until morning and then opened the doors of the house of the Lord. He was afraid to tell Eli the vision. But Eli called him and said, "Samuel, my son." Samuel answered, "Here I am." "What was it he said to you?" Eli asked. "Do not hide it from me. May God deal with you, be it ever so severely, if you hide from me anything he told you." So Samuel told him everything, hiding nothing from him. Then Eli said, "He is the Lord. Let him do what is good in his eyes." The Lord was with Samuel as he grew up, and he let none of Samuel's words fall to the ground. And all Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, recognized that Samuel was attested as a prophet of the Lord. The Lord continued to appear at Shiloh, and there he revealed himself to Samuel through his word. I remember this particularly because I was quite young at Sunday school, probably 12, 13, and I went with my sisters and I heard this. And I remember the curate particularly saying, "Everybody calls you 3 times. Not necessarily the Lord, it could be your mother, it could be your father." But the one thing that really stuck in my mind about that is how we would say it now is, be careful what you ask for. You don't necessarily want to hear what is going to happen, and you don't necessarily want to know what's going to happen. And it isn't always good news. And I found at the time, having read so many miracle stories and so many other things about the church that was happy, jolly, nice singing, I found it very sobering. And I would say that particular day stuck in my mind for an awful long time. So in my heart, ever since then, I have been careful for what I wish for.